With TV shows like Stranger Things and Westworld becoming instant hits and capturing audiences for a long time, science fiction is experiencing a renaissance. But after all, almost every network has its own library of original content, with dozens of TV shows in the genre you love. Greetings everyone and welcome to my Shadow Tavern. Today's episode will feature 13 sci-fi series from Netflix that are worth watching. There are many more than 13, but for this issue I've chosen primarily those I like, and that are well received by audiences. Everything is subjective and this issue probably needs an update. And if you like my channel, don't forget to subscribe and help other viewers. Leave your comments with the titles of those great series I haven't talked about. Make yourselves comfortable, warm yourself up with some delicious tea, and have a great time watching. Altered Carbon. Adapted from the novel by Richard C. Morgan, Altered Carbon is a vivid, brutal, and at times dizzying journey into sci-fi decadence. The series follows a trained and insanely dangerous 22nd century mercenary, who is brought back to solve the murder of a very powerful aristocrat. In this version of the future, rich people cannot die. In fact, the minds of anyone who can afford it are uploaded to the cloud via stacks, special devices implanted in the body, and the mind is downloaded into new bodies as needed. TV World Without Death boasts stunning Blade Runner-style visuals, and intrigue reminiscent of HBO's Westworld. However, it takes a few episodes for Carbon to really grab you. And here's the thing, the series is finished after a failed second season. And if you like the first one, and you probably will, just don't watch the sequel, and you will be left with a full 10 episodes of atmospheric sci-fi in your memory. Dark. This series is the real magic of intelligent storytelling on screen. Dark is a German sci-fi thriller about time travel and related paradoxes that tells the story of four families whose dark past begins to reveal itself when children start disappearing in their small town. I won't say much about the show. It's one of the brightest sci-fi premieres of recent years, and you probably already know all about it. In my opinion, the marketing and media coverage that has branded the series as the German Stranger Things, just because of the missing people and the time period setting, seriously underestimates the interest new viewers will have in this smart, exciting, and insanely interesting TV show. Black Mirror. Each episode of Charlie Brooker's fascinating anthology examines a particular techno-social phenomenon, ranging from popular hashtags that kill people to the torture of memory erasure and social media ratings that determine a person's fate. While much of what is shown can be found in our everyday lives, the series pushes the limits to ask if humanity can and should exist in such a world. For the most part, the satirical TV show is a pertinent and bleak look into the future. However, I must note that as with most anthologies, the quality of the episodes varies incredibly, and it is not uncommon to find only 2 or 3 really good episodes out of the season's 6 total. Away. Shows and movies about space usually fall into one of 2 categories: intergalactic sci-fi odyssey, or what is commonly referred to as space drama, where space is portrayed from the perspective of an isolated environment where the characters are far away from their families and loved ones. This very concept is the basis of the Netflix series Away, inspired by an Esquire article about a team of astronauts who leave their families to embark on the first manned mission to Mars. It's not going to be a futuristic epos, but within its limitations, as a dramatic series with a space setting and longing for loved ones, it succeeds quite well. Lost in Space. Many people think this is a remake of a 1998 movie, but the Netflix TV show is not a remake of the movie at all, but of the 1965 series. Unlike the original, it is no longer quirky and funny, but focused on being compared to serious space odysseys. The premise remains the same. It's about the Robinson family, one of the first space colonists, whose journey was interrupted by disaster. Their ship crashed and they have to survive in an unknown land. But the adventure story here is also extended by the backstory of the robot and the mysteries that the obscure planet holds. In essence, Lost in Space is a family fiction movie, without unnecessary violence or the like. Night Flyers. Fans of Game of Thrones author are probably familiar with this sci-fi novel Night Flyers. It tells the story of a space crew that reaches the edge of the solar system and encounters something so horrific and alien that the human mind is unable to comprehend what is happening. The story had already been adapted in 1987, but Sci-Fi and Netflix decided to turn the dark corridors of the Night Flyers ship into a space horror series in the style of the Event Horizon movie. The series was cancelled after the first season. It is often illogical and confusing, and the ending turned out to be a mess. Nevertheless, the events that happen to the team are sometimes so fascinating that it is almost impossible to tear yourself away from watching. Love, Death Plus Robots. There are many nuances to making entertaining, powerful, and creative short films, and the Netflix animated series Love, Death Plus Robots combines all 3 of these important aspects, woven into really crazy sci-fi plots. The title pretty much speaks for itself. Each episode will have its elements, and sometimes a combination of all 3. From android tourists traveling through a post-apocalyptic Earth, to werewolves in the service of the army, to sea creatures trying to eat the world, to monsters in the tall grass. The collection of short films turned out to be complex, fascinating, and surprising. Sense8. Can you imagine waking up one day and suddenly realizing that your mind is no longer really yours, but intertwined with strangers from all over the world? That's the fate of the 8 people in Netflix's Sense8, and that waking up is just the beginning of a sequence of all the strange things that happen to these people. In addition to their senses, they also share emotions, knowledge, and skills, and there is a mysterious organization that hunts people like them. The series was created by the writers of The Matrix, who deliberately included storylines revolving around identity politics, which are rarely represented in science fiction. The OA. For those of you who found Stranger Things too straightforward, check out this unusual sci-fi show. Prairie Johnson mysteriously reappears after being reported missing for 7 years. The fact that she was completely blind at the time of her disappearance and returned sighted raises even more questions. She refuses to tell her family and the authorities the secret of where she was and what happened to her, but gathers a group of several troubled teens and asks for their help in saving the other captives. The series received positive reviews from critics and was loved by fans, and after the announcement of its closure without an intelligible ending, there was a veritable storm of emotion on the internet to resume production. But alas, the rain. The series introduces viewers to a real-life apocalypse. The death of all life comes with raindrops that spread a kind of zombie infection. In literally seconds, everyone exposed to the contaminated water is transformed. After 6 years of viral rains, a brother and sister leave the bunker to search for their father, who once abandoned them, saying that only he could fix everything. A rather dark Scandinavian drama about a group of extremely emotional teenagers following their mission in a post-apocalyptic world. The series has an interesting premise, but there will be no suspense here. It aims more at constant action than at immersing the viewer in a post-apocalyptic atmosphere. However, if you're looking for a sci-fi adventure series, don't miss it. Tribes of Europa. Tribes of Europe is a German post-apocalyptic series from the producers of The Dark, set after the devastating event known as Black December, when the world's power systems failed, causing an energy catastrophe across the planet, throwing people back hundreds of years in their progress and forcing the remaining population to form tribes to fight together for their survival. The series tells the story of brothers and sister who discover a crashed flying machine with a mysterious cube inside that seems capable of changing the lives of the survivors forever. For those familiar with dystopian TV shows, Tribes of Europe is like The Walking Dead without zombies, The 100 without spaceships, and Revolution with a bigger budget. The Umbrella Academy, a Netflix series based on an extraordinary comic book created by the frontman of My Chemical Romance, tells the story of a family of superheroes with strange powers who all grow up together in a mansion school, and all hate their father. Sounds weird, but trust me, once the series starts building the plot, it's very hard to tear yourself away from the screen. This sci-fi movie is able to surprise you with its pacing, amazingly relevant soundtrack, time travel and alternate history themes, and a chimpanzee butler. And those who love drama series will find a line of sibling relationships in a difficult situation. Stranger Things. Of course, I can't miss this series in this issue. If you still don't know what this hit Netflix sci-fi project with an 80th entourage is about, seriously, where have you been since 2016? It's got everything. Another dimension, crazy bloodthirsty monsters, government conspiracies, and tons of pop culture references. All in all, a must-watch for anyone watching the series on this streaming service. And that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Feel free to share this video with your friends, subscribe to the channel, and smash the buttons below the player. And see you in the next issue. Bye.